All right, what's going on, everybody? I hope this video finds you well. Big request that I've been getting still is how do I minimize my early extension? So I know we've already done a pretty big series here on early extension, but I'm going to give you guys another train of thought, another feel to look at, and how we can actually use the ground and what the trail foot can do to actually minimize what our early extension is. So before we get into that, if you haven't watched the last video that we did, or that I did here, please click on that link down below. I've also got a free crash course, Understanding Impact. Would love to have you check that out. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So when we look at footwork that causes early extension, for me, I would say one of the biggest things that I see out of players who early extend, and let's assume right here that you're already in a good setup position. We're close enough to the golf ball. We've built out a pretty good structure, but we're still struggling with this early extension, or let's even call it this trail leg, trail knee, trail hip working out too much right here. So if we look at it, if we look at what happens for me, I see two things. Number one, the player starts with too much pressure in the center of their feet, or they start in their heels. If we start with too much pressure in the center of our feet, or even we get back into our heels right here, what starts to happen is the very next place that we notice people generally want to start moving to is they start moving back into their toes. Now, when we're up on our toes, this is where we have the ability to actually start extending and pushing up too much. So the area that I would say firstly that we need to comprehend is we've got to get our footwork in the right place. So one, if we look at right here, would be the arch of my foot. This would be the front part of the arch, and this would be the ball of my foot. So typically when I'm right in here, I want to see all of my pressure on the back part, if I'm being very particular, the back part of the ball of my foot, not the arch, not the front, and definitely not in the toe. And now when we start to look at what's going to happen here, I'm going to explain this from a backswing standpoint and also a downswing standpoint. So in the backswing, one of the ways that we can look at this is once we've created our takeaway, what we want to actually feel is that we have pressure right in here that we're actually pushing from this way. So when we have pressure that's pushing this way, what this is actually doing here is this is extending and pushing the hip back to where the arms actually have space now. Now from here, when we start to work this back down, this pressure that we have here on our foot, we don't really want to see the knee. We don't want to see the knee or the hip passing that pressure. So it's like I'm pushing back once, I'm back into that point, and I'm actually pushing away from it twice. So in my backswing, I would be pushing this way, and then in my downswing, I would be pushing this way. And so you can actually see how this would be pushing the knee, the hip back, which now that gives me room for the chest and the arms to actually work down right here. So what I like to see out of good ball strikers right here, it's not that the knee doesn't go back into a reflex, it's that we don't let the knee go back into a reflex to where our pressure gets up here on our toes. This is where now this starts to block us out. We start to stand up, and then it causes the early extension. It could even cause an early release. Like for me, this is something that I struggled with immensely, and for me, it caused block and hooks right here. So one of the drills that I like to use, because I think this is a big place for players, you need to have awareness of what this actually feels like here. So one of the drills that I will do is I will take a golf ball, and I'll show this to you from face on first. I will take a golf ball and put it underneath the ball of my foot, just on the outside edge of this. So now I'm using this ball as a leverage point to actually push away from in the backswing and in the transition of the downswing. That's what's going to give me space right there. So if we go in here and we set this up here, so I'm going to get to where my distance from the golf ball is right. So this would be right about in here. So this would be where my golf ball needs to be. This would be underneath my foot. And now from here, what I'm going to do from a goal standpoint is once I push this back, as I start back down, I'm pushing I'm pushing away from this to increase the distance that my pelvis would be moving into the golf ball. I want to move it away from the golf ball. That's what will give my upper body and my spine the ability to get down to this. So like if we started right here and we did one a little bit slower, I'd be here. I'm going to push this back until the trail leg is straight. And then I'm going to push away from it again on the downswing. So I'm going to go here, push it back, and push it through. And now my goal with this is once I've hit the golf ball, it's okay to come off of it. But in the transition of the downswing, I don't want to feel like I actually roll over the top of where this golf ball is. And this is a drill I think you can honestly, once you get comfortable with it, you can start to work this up into fuller speeds right here. So we're going to have a video that's going to show this from face on as well as down the line. So if we're going to try this again, I'm going to go takeaway, push the trail leg and hip back. In the transition, push it away again. So I'd be right in here, push it away on the back, push it away in the transition. And there would be more of what that look would be right there. So this is just a really cool way that is going to give you an awareness and a very distinct feel of where we want to have the foot pressures that are going to affect what the knee and what the hip does to be able to give the upper body a little bit more space and the arms more space to be able to come in and attack the golf ball and help you to start minimizing that early extension that you might have if you're watching this video. So if you have any questions at all in regards to this drill, anything about this video, please leave those in the comments down below. I promise I will get back to each and every one of you. Once again, I appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.